Content warning. This episode discusses the death of Tasia Fortune, a 29-year-old black woman found hanging from a tree behind a vacant home in Jackson, Mississippi. We discussed grief, suicide, the history of racial violence, and an active death investigation. Authorities have not publicly announced Tasia's cause or manner of death. Please take care while listening.
You live in a neighborhood in Jackson, Mississippi. It's August 3rd, 2026, and you're near a vacant home in the 500 block of Road of Remembrance, a place people pass, a place people may not think much about until something makes you look twice. And then behind that home, you find something that changes the night completely. You do not know her name. You do not know her story. You do not know how she got there, how long she's been there, or what happened before you arrived.
But you know, a woman needs help, so neighbors contact police.
Jackson police say officers locate the body of an unidentified black woman behind the vacant home. Days later, the Hinds County Coroner's Office identifies her as 29-year-old Tasia Fortune.
By then, the people who found her have become part of the first moments of an investigation, and Tasia's family is left with questions that will define every moment after. What happened to her, and will they get answers?
This is the death investigation of Tasia Fortune. Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee and Crime with Mom. I'm Nicole, Mom.
And I'm Zay.
If you're new here, welcome. We are a mother and daughter true crime podcast where we sit down together, dig into the facts, and talk through the cases that leave us with more questions than answers.
Before we get started, make sure you are subscribed wherever you are listening or watching. If you enjoy the show, give us a like, leave us a review, or drop your thoughts in the comments.
Your likes, comments, reviews, and shares really do help more people find Coffee and Crime with Mom. And if you have a case you think we should cover, send it our way.
If you have been with us for the last few episodes, you know we have been covering cases that are still unfolding, cases where families are still waiting, investigators are still working, and the public does not have every answer yet.
Right. And today is another one of those cases. We are discussing the death of Tasia Fortune in Jackson, Mississippi, an active investigation with major questions still unanswered.
So, from the beginning, we need to be careful with our language. We are not calling this a homicide because authorities have not called it a homicide. We are not calling it suicide because a medical examiner has not made that determination either.
We are going to separate verified reporting, statements from Tasia's family, and the questions that remain unanswered. We will not treat online claims as evidence.
Let's begin by talking about Tasia. Not just the circumstances of how she was found, but the person her family loved.
We discussed the investigation. We want Tasia to be introduced by the people who loved her.
We're gonna press this as far as we can press it until she gets justice.
Tasia loved living life. Like, there's no way that she took her own life.
That is who Tasia was to her family. And it matters that we hold on to that because the public still does not have answers about how she died, which mind-blowing.
Tasia Fortune was 29 years old. Her mother, Christy Spivey, told ABC News that Tasia was a mother of four. Her family remembered her as strong-minded, full of laughs and love, and a person of faith.
Her aunt described Tasia as strong-minded, big-hearted, and vibrant. According to her mother, she last saw Tasia on July 26th at a family reunion in Kentucky, where she seemed to be doing better than she had in a long time. This is heartbreaking because
so
four kids now don't have a mother. That in
Right.
itself is just,
Whatever happened, that in itself is so sad.
yes.
And we are careful to say, according to her mother, because that is the family member's account, not an investigative finding, but it tells us how Tasia's loved ones knew her.
Tasia's family has also been direct that they want answers. Her mother has said publicly that she does not believe Tasia died by suicide. That is her mother's belief. It is not a conclusion that law enforcement or the medical examiner has publicly reached, but I think that I'm siding with Tasia's mother.
I think that that's definitely where we stand.
Yeah.
Tasia was a daughter, a mother, and a person with people who loved her. That has to be the first thing we remember. On August 3rd, 2026, Jackson police said officers located the body of an unidentified Black woman behind a vacant home in the 500 block of Road of Remembrance.
Neighbors in the predominantly Black Jackson neighborhood reportedly contacted police after finding her. Police reporting has not identified the neighbors or explained exactly how they came upon the scene. This is why our opening was a composite, not a reconstruction of one person's experience like we would normally do.
Right. The Hinds County Coroner's Office later identified the woman as Tasia Fortune, 29. Her body was sent to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office for an autopsy.
And here's the point that matters most. An autopsy is meant to determine both the cause and the manner of death, okay?
Right. And cause of death is the specific injury or medical condition that led to a death. Manner of death is a separate classification. Nature, accident, suicide, homicide, or undetermined.
A person being found hanging describes what responders encountered. It does not, by itself, tell us the official cause or manner of death. It does not establish that another person did it, and it does not establish that Tasia did it herself. And I'm just going to be keeping it a buck with you. She was up there. She was
She
up
was up
there.
there.
So we're just going to, they had to use a fire truck to get her down.
To get her down.
Let's just let that simmer.
Whew. At the time of recording, Jackson police described this as an active and ongoing death investigation. Authorities have not publicly announced the autopsy findings, named a suspect, or said whether they considered Tasia's death suspicious. We could not find a public on camera statement from the assigned investigator or a Jackson police spokesperson about the facts of this case. We are not going to pretend a reporter is the same thing as law enforcement. This is the department's public case status. Tasia's death has drawn local and national attention. Her family has spoken about their devastation and they continue to seek answers.
The family's concern is important, but it remains separate from an official investigation conclusion. The medical examiner and the police investigation will determine what evidence supports.
Jackson Ward 3 Councilman Kenneth Stokes has asked the U.S. Attorney's Office to assist with the case.
But we need to make a distinction here. A councilman requesting federal help is not the same thing as a federal agency opening an investigation. As of this recording, there is no public confirmation that the U.S. Attorney's Office or another federal agency has formally joined Tasia's case.
People may be frustrated by the limited information. That is understandable. We are also frustrated.
Yes.
Death investigations can involve scene preservation, evidence collection, interviews, phone and video review, and forensic testing that the public may not see in real time.
Yeah. The lack of public details is not proof that investigators have no evidence, but it is entirely fair for Tasia's family and community to ask for a thorough investigation, transparency, and meaningful updates. Because it's hard for you to just be like, let me do my job.
Right.
And I know that the police are like, well, I'm trying, especially the officers that take it seriously. I'm doing the best that I can. But it's hard for you to just tell the family, hey, sit on your hands and just wait for me to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. A new development has generated a lot of discussion online. A 65-year-old man named Terrence Anderson was arrested on a charge unrelated to Tasia Fortune's death.
Anderson appeared in Jackson Municipal Court on a charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm. A judge set bond at $250,000, and reporting said he was held at the Hinds County Detention Center.
Detectives told the court that they had interviewed Anderson in connection with Tasia's death. Reporting says he denied involvement and told police that he had argued with Tasia.
And that is all we can responsibly say from the public record. He has not been charged in Tasia's death. The firearm charge is separate. Public reporting has not established that the firearm was connected to Tasia's death. But here's my opinion.
Okay. NBC News reported that Anderson's brother said Tasia and Anderson shared a 5-year-old son. That information came from Anderson's brother, not from a Jackson police officer, not from a Jackson police confirmation. We are including it only as attributed reporting, not as a proven investigative fact.
But that's mind-blowing if the
That is.
65-year-old man is Tasia's baby
Tasia's-
daddy
Yeah.
or whatever the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if they went together or not, and I don't want to offend nobody because I don't like to be called nobody baby mom. So
Yeah.
And we are not going to repeat unverified claims about Tasia's personal life. A family member's statement to a reporter may be part of the public conversation, but it is not automatically evidence. And that I don't feel like that makes it evidence, but that makes it a connection. If that is the father of her kid, there is a connection
Right.
there.
Right. Then
Yeah,
that means that they definitely need to be investigating him further other than just what he said. But I'm sure they are. I don't think it's even at a point where it's like frustrating because we haven't heard anything quite yet. Because I mean, I, I don't even know what to say about this case, honestly. It is everything seems like it could be a problem. Everything.
everything.
So we are not using a news report as if it were an investigator interview. Instead, here is the narrow court update we can verify from local reporting. Detectives said Terrence Anderson had been interviewed regarding Tasia Fortune's death. He denied involvement. He was arrested separately.
But first, exclusive breaking news. A man said to be a person of interest in connection with the death of a woman found hanging in a tree in Jackson has been arrested on an unrelated charge. Here's what we know. Tuesday, Terrence Anderson appeared in Jackson Municipal Court where he was charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. Judge Jeffrey Reynolds set bond at $250,000. Anderson is now at the Hinds County Detention Center in Raymond. Detectives said in court that he had been interviewed in connection with the death of Tasia Fortune. He denied any involvement with her death, but told police he had been in an argument with her. Fortune was found hanging on a tree on the Road of Remembrance in Monday in Jackson. JPD could not confirm he was a person of interest. Anderson has not been charged in relation with Fortune's death.
That wording matters because a separate firearm charge does not prove involvement in a separate death investigation.
So let's slow down here because these words get used carelessly online and sometimes even in headlines.
In Mississippi, person of interest and suspect are not fixed legal labels with one official definition in the criminal code. They are investigative and media terms, and their meaning depends on what police actually say.
Person of interest generally means someone investigators want to speak with or learn more about because they may have information relevant to a case. That could be a witness, an acquaintance, someone connected to a victim, or someone investigators are examining more closely.
A suspect generally means investigators believe a person may have committed a specific offense, but even a suspect has not necessarily been arrested, charged, or found guilty.
And then there are actual legal status terms. A person may be arrested, charged, or become a defendant in a criminal case, and none of those labels prove guilt.
In this case, some reportings refer to Anderson as a person of interest, but Jackson police have not publicly confirmed that designation. So our most accurate wording is this. Terrence Anderson is a man detectives interviewed in a connection with Tasia Fortune's death.
We should not call him Tasia's murderer. We should not say he is the suspect unless Jackson police make that designation. And we should not present the phrase person of interest as a confirmed fact when that department has not confirmed it.
This is not word policing. It is fairness. It's an active investigation. Inaccurate labels can harm real people and muddy the information the public is trying to understand, which is very true. You know how many times we've heard about somebody just being a person of interest
Right.
or a suspect in some kind of murder and their life was ruined just off of that. So
Then
we
they
want to
find
be,
out they had nothing to do with it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we're trying to be very careful.
Yeah, we also cannot discuss this case without acknowledging why it hit people so hard. A Black woman found hanging from a tree in Mississippi is not an image separated from history.
That history helps explain the concern, grief, and anger surrounding this case. It is context people have a right to name. This is insane. A Black woman, a 29-year-old mother, hanging so high in a tree that they needed to use a fire truck to get her down.
Yeah, we can't say what happened, but it doesn't look good. That's what I can say from where we sit right now. But context is not a substitute for evidence. History tells us why people are demanding care and scrutiny. It does not tell us by itself Tasia Fortune's cause or manner of death.
The strongest position is both compassionate and careful. Investigate fully, preserve evidence, communicate with the family, and follow the evidence wherever it leads.
Let's separate the confirmed record from the unanswered questions. Tasia Fortune was 29 years old. She was found dead on August 3rd, 2026, behind a vacant home. in the 500 block of Road of Remembrance in Jackson. Neighbors reportedly contacted police after finding her. Their identities and the exact circumstances of discovery have not been publicly released. The Hinds County Coroner's Office identified Tasia. Her body was sent to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office for an autopsy. Jackson police say the circumstances of her death remain under active, ongoing investigation. Tasia's mother has publicly said she does not believe Tasia died by suicide. That is the family's belief and our belief, not an official medical or investigative determination. Councilman Kenneth Stokes asked the U.S. Attorney's Office for assistance. There is no public confirmation of a federal investigation. Terrence Anderson was interviewed by detectives and later arrested on unrelated charges of being a felon in possession of a firearm. He has not been charged with Tasia's death. Tasia's official manner of death, whether investigators believe another person was involved, what evidence investigators recovered, and what it shows, whether there are witnesses, surveillance video, phone records, messages, or other digital evidence relevant to the case, whether law enforcement will publicly designate any suspect or a person of interest, what we know, what is left open, whether any state or federal agency will announce expanded involvement.
Those questions are not accusations. They are questions that a thorough death investigation must answer. There are a lot of questions. And it is seeming like the Nolan Wells case where it's more questions than answers.
Right, right. And when things like this, especially this exact type of situation, people want answers right now. And I understand that. I want to know exactly what happened and what you're saying. Like, I just feel like don't come back telling me she climbed in this tree and hung herself that high in the tree. I'm just
That
not going to
high.
hear that. I'm just not
Yeah,
gonna hear that.
no. And I mean also that's like that impulse is human. You know, people
Right.
don't want Tasia to be reduced to a headline and then forgotten. They want somebody held accountable if somebody harmed her. And I don't think that there is a if. Somebody definitely did that. I don't know how, but I don't think that it is an accurate assumption to say that she took her time to climb all the way up in this tree, tie a rope, and then hang herself. That is a lot of work.
And it has to be very, and I don't know the statistics, but it can't be something that happens very often that a Black person in Mississippi goes out and hangs themselves in a tree. I'm not saying that when
No.
people don't commit suicide by hanging themselves, but that paints such a picture just hearing those words.
Yes.
But caring about Tasia means caring about accuracy too. We cannot decide the cause of death because the facts make us uncomfortable. We cannot identify a killer before police say there is one. And we cannot turn a separate firearms charge into proof of involvement in her death.
Yeah, her family deserves honesty and the community deserves transparency. And any person mentioned in connection with this case deserves not to be convicted by headlines, comments, or assumptions.
The next meaningful update should come from evidence, the medical examiner's findings, an official police statement, a charge related to Tasia's death, or a confirmed investigative change.
Until then, the honest answer is the one true crime sometimes struggles to say. We do not know yet.
Tasia Fortune was loved and her family deserves real answers.
At this time, Jackson police describe this as an active investigation and the medical examiner's findings have not been released. We will update this case only when there is a meaningful verified development.
And if you have credible information relevant to Tasia Fortune's death, contact Crime Stoppers. Please do not confront anyone or circulate unverified claims online.
And if this episode brings up thoughts of self-harm or crisis for you or someone you love, call or text 988 in the United States to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
If this episode gave you something to think about, make sure you are subscribed, leave us a review, and share it with someone who values facts over rumors.
Send us your thoughts and cases you would like us to cover. Please remember the difference between an allegation, a family belief, and an established fact.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Zaylee.
And this is Coffee and Crime with Mom. We'll see you later, co-conspirators.
Toodaloo.
Bye.